rock and roll. I'm going to let these set up overnight because they stink to high heaven. Not going on over there. Now, one of the things Schuler was talking about, and I kind of agree with him a little bit, they're almost too bright. They almost pop so much, they kind of take away from the motor a little bit. All right, so we're in the home stretch of the headers, which I am super excited for. I'm just going to finish up the welding, and at that point, hopefully everything comes off smoothly. I started looking at it, I'm like, man, I hope I don't have to take the tires off the car. So I'm going to finish up on the passenger side, put the collector locks on, and then weld everything that I can on this top side. I'm going to let this side cool because the driver's side I've already done that too. And then I'm going to take the driver's side one off, weld all that up, put that back on. By that time, that should be cool enough to where then I can finish off the underside welds that I can't get to on the car. And yeah, at that point, then they should be ready to clean up and paint. So let's get moving. Welding's all done. Now we're going to start taking the headers off. I'm going to let the passenger side cool down a little bit. Obviously, it's hot. So we're going to take the driver's side off. Hopefully everything comes off and I don't have to take the wheel off. So let's see how this goes. Remember when I was saying the welded areas that you cannot get to because there's other pipes in the way. See what I'm saying now that I got it flipped over, trying to get into this stuff? You're just not going to be able to get in there. And also, you can see how much of the flange I have. So I literally have to do, let's just say from, 10 o'clock till noon, 10 o'clock to 1, maybe a little more, maybe like 10 to 2, like 11 to 2. I'm not too afraid of that. The majority of it's all welded, so I don't think putting in heat in there is going to warp the flange. Everything's already welded up. I can't see it affecting it in that sense. And then I'm going to weld this guy on a little bit better. I got the front and I got the sides. I'm going to weld that back edge, and then we're just going to zip zap everything here, and this will be done. Make sure you go over every single weld. Just take the time. Go over every weld. You see any little pinholes? Hit it with the welder. Same thing on your flanges. You see any little pinholes? Hit it with the welder. Now, you can see some of the slag that's on here, like this stuff and this stuff. This is where I was telling you guys before. Grab your file. Grab your file, like in here, and just file this stuff down. You can even go over your welds a little bit, and if you have some boogers that are, your welds are kind of doing this stuff, go over your welds and you can file them down a little bit. You can make them look a little bit better. So this guy is done. I'm going to go over it with the file, and then we're grabbing the passenger side header, and should be coming off. Go through the same torture that we put this one through. So let me do a little filing, and we'll grab that passenger side header and get that welded up. right, so we got the headers all blasted up, ready to go. Shaking up a little bit of the old VHT here. As you can see, they're all finished up, welded up. I know I showed you guys all that stuff, but looks a little bit better once you actually get them blasted up. So, looking a little better. So let's do some little bit of painting, put a couple of coats of this on, and then I'm going to let it sit for pretty much the rest of tonight here at the main shop, and then I'll come pick them up tomorrow. All right, just to give you guys a heads up here, this paint is a little thin, so my suggestion would be don't try to cover it all in the first coat. You try to do it, you're going to get a lot of runs. It's not going to look very good. I would just suggest get the first coat on and just give it something to stick to. Even if you don't cover every little square inch of it, doesn't matter, not the first time around. Second coat should cover it pretty well, and if it needs a third coat, well, give it a third coat, but take your time. First coat of paint is on, just letting that set up. I'm gonna do 2 good coats. I mean, you can still see where it's still patchy, which is fine. I just wanted to get that first coat to actually bite down. And then I'm gonna do the second coat a little thicker. And I'm gonna give this about, I'll probably wait a good 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. It's probably been about 3 or so. I ended up having to hit the big exhaust fan up there because this stuff stinks. So let's lay down that next coat of paint. So this time you actually have something to bite down to, like I said with the first coat. Now you can go a little bit thicker, probably what you would tend to do your first coat like, because like I said, this paint is just, it's just a little thin. I heated it up in some warm water before I even started. Plus, you know, inside the building, we're probably 70 degrees, so it's good painting. It's just a little thin, just to give you guys that warning. Ooh, is that stuff stinky? Thought I could do it in 2. It's gonna take me 3. That's why I ended up buying 2 cans. So 2 coats pretty much did 1 can, so I'll probably go through half a can of this second one here. But you can see what's going on. Like I said, I just got the big old exhaust fan going on right now just to get the stink out of here, because that stuff stinks. So I'm going to do 1 more coat. So it's going to be 3 coats. Ready to rock and roll. I'm going to let these set up overnight because they stink to high heaven. And I will say this, you guys. Remember how I kept saying, make sure you go over every single spot and every weld and double and triple check. And if you don't have anything, put a tack on it and this and this and this. I can tell you right now, I've already found a couple of spots that I'm going to have to take the paint off. I'll show you one right now because I'm looking right at it. I'm going to have to take the paint off. Right there. I missed that spot right there. And there was another guy. Oh, this flange. Right there. Yeah, that's going to be a tick, 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 tick. So, again, I mean, you can see where, you know, are the welds perfect and, you know, all that stuff. It's like, no, but they're, you know, again, I mean, I'm fine with it not looking like it's all TIG welded and all that type of stuff. You know, I'm okay with that. Once I throw it on the car, again, you probably won't even really notice it that much. And this is a budget set of headers. So, you know, including the paint and everything, you're under $450. That's really not that bad. So I'm going to let this stuff set up, and then I'm going to come back tomorrow. Oh, headers are on, painted, ready to rock and roll. Like I said, the white, that's just that classic 1970s, 60s kind of flavor. Let me know what you guys think. There, I'll try to give you an upshot. So that's what we got going on there. Let's take a look at the driver's side. And then that's what we got going on over there. Now, one of the things Schuler was talking about, and I kind of agree with him a little bit, they're almost too bright. They almost pop so much that they kind of take away from the motor a little bit. But again, I mean, that's kind of the classic look, but I don't know if with all the black and polish, you know, that the motor is, that it's, you know, the motor doesn't exactly have that classic look. It would be, you know, orange engine, chrome valve covers, all your fittings, you know, all of this stuff would have been, you know, the blue and the red, you know, it would be the, what, more the gold anodized fuel injection to make it look more like a traditional carburetor. So maybe that's a little bit of what's looking off, but I don't know. I don't know if I should keep the white or if we should go ceramic coat. Hit me down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. But next thing I'm going to work on is putting on, where'd they go? The breather setups, these guys. I'm going to get these mounted on, get that all done. And then, where is it? There it is. There is the V-pulley that Stan the Man ended up making for me. If you guys remember from the last one, that was a double V. Well, if you look real close, see that thickness on this front one here compared to here? Well, that's why I didn't just get a standard V belt or single V, because I would have had to put spacers behind this. So we're going to install this today to see if that also works good for that blower belt. And yeah, so let's get cracking. So I got this one that I have to do some drilling on. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have this set up like right here in the middle. This guy got on. We're locked in. We're good. No problems there. I got 2 fingers in between there and the header, so we should be good there. But trying to do a little work on the old Trailblazer SS over here, the old man's winter beater, and found out his transmission cooler is leaking like crazy. For you guys that, you know, have Trailblazers, you know, you don't have tranny coolers on them. That's just one of the things that's just safe to put on. It's notorious that, you know, you'll smoke your tranny, and it's just a good safety precaution. So we put it on a long time ago. So the Michigan winters have been eating this thing up. So they're doing their thing, and it's hard to see, but the tranny cooler is just deep inside there, and it's just peeing out tranny fluid right now.
It's in that crotch right now.
So feels safe enough to go underneath.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what's going on is you can see inside there is where we're leaking.
Oh yeah.
Is it all full of tranny fluid in there?
Watch it. It's just pouring.
Oh, you need a rag? Is it just caked in there?
No, kind of. Dripping out.
Well, I hope it's liquid. Can you pull that out far enough to pull the tranny cooler out, or is there a...
What's holding this in?
Somebody didn't want to bring a little flashlight.
Boy, that boy is on right now. No problems there. Everything fits nice and smooth. Oh, but I started to notice, you know, I'm okay down there. I don't have to worry about any of this moving and like bumping into here. There's no way it's going to do that. But you can see the alternator. I'm having problems there. This is where the old motor plate used to be. That's coming off. Hopefully that'll give me a little bit of room. And then that right there, I'm going to have to take this section, this chunk right here out of here. I'm going to have to move these brake lines over and all that. I'm going to have to move it back into here. Let's see if I can give you guys a good shot, just to miss this bracket so I have adjustability. Down below, I'm okay, because this is expanded out as far as it possibly can go. So I can actually bring this back a little bit, but I'm hitting right there. So I got to do a little bit of work on the frame right there, but I'm not worried about that right now. We are going to put the pulley in and see how that works with the blower bracket. So let me grab that and let's put this thing in. Update on the old man's car. Schuler's on the phone with Napa right now. What we found out was, and we don't work on Trailblazers, sorry. Well, there's the transmission cooler that we threw in. The cooler that's down below that we were seeing that was leaking, power steering. So he is calling on dealing with the lovely year, make, and model of working on that. So we're going to go pick up a power steering cooler. The old man's doing a little bit of cleaning off on the 55, bringing back the luster with a wet rag, but with the body work he did on Mom's, and then everything just got covered in like Bondo dust and all that. So just seeing this thing, what was that, ivory? Like I say, I wouldn't call that white, it's more like an ivory, but just making her look a little pretty, get all the dust and nastiness off. So, anyways, let's get on this onto this pulley here. But I give you guys a little heads up because I didn't need to get it in the comments of, hey man, didn't you know that that was actually a power steering cooler and not the transmission cooler? Well, we didn't know until we actually looked it up. So now we know. So hopefully, Stan the man ended up machining all this stuff out. So let's get this out. Oh, I still got to buy bolts and get all the right stuff in that sense. For what we need. But the big thing was to check and see if he machined
So Napa,
the right amount.
Are you still talking?
Yeah, I got it on, but you're fine.
The Napa on 28th and Burn gave him some stuff.
So the Napa right up the street doesn't have it?
They don't answer.
It's a little bit of a trip.
Particularly by that car dealership that you picked your color from, kind of. So it's in between Burn Game and Fire and Center. So it's past
But they have,
the stock one, and he says it's stock one and stock, that one right there.
Okay,
So for $53.
okay. So is it done, get it right now?
so is it like pressed fittings and all that, or is it just regular normal fittings on the
It's just like, yeah, it's just the
standard fittings?
standard hose and clamp.
Okay, so it's an easy fix.
Yeah, so there are two 13mm bolts, one on each side, pull that plastic piece down, slide it out. I think you're gonna have a problem with your lines. You're gonna have the worst time getting that clamp and lines off for the rest of it.
Yeah.
But you have it.
It ain't bad, you guys. Just a little sloppy. Don't want a bunch of tension into it, but I would say, let's get you guys off the stand so you can see what's going on too. There. But that's pulley in, which I know that fits good, but that doesn't fit too bad. I think Stan the man nailed it here. So yeah, I mean, yes, I wish I could just start the motor and the belt itself would kind of take a set, it would wander forward, wander back, but I think we're good. I think trying to give you guys a good shot from there straight up. I think we're good. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that be, and I'm going to go from there. Now I do have another pulley that's going to be for the bottom. Right now that is a 55, I believe, and I can't go any smaller on the top. I have a 43 on the top, and I mean, I'm literally, let me show you. I'm literally like, that's as close as I can get inside there. I don't think I can go anything smaller than that 43. So I'm going to a 58. When we dynoed this thing, when we made what we made, with this pulley combination, we made, I'd have to double check the dyno, but it was basically 10 pounds of boost. It might have been like 10.2 or something like that. And, we made just barely under 800 horse. It was like 796 or some stuff like that. And I mean, I'm sure we could have let things cool off, especially with the Roots blower, let it cool off a little bit, and we probably would have gone over 800. So I call it 800. But we're going to do a 58 on the bottom, which right now, this pulley setup, I'm 28% overdriven, which honestly for that blower, that's a lot. I mean, I should technically have a bigger blower on it. And again, that is the 6V71. That is not a regular 671. That is the Blower Shop's more pro street version. It's pretty much just like the old-fashioned Detroit 671s. So even if I had a regular, more of a true street and strip 671 on this thing, it probably would make more power, or I wouldn't have to spin it as hard. And part of the reason why it's making good power, for you guys out there, I'm sure you know this, but for those that don't, the harder you spin one of these things, you're just creating tons and tons of heat. These things are just heat-soaked animals. So one of the biggest benefits that you can do to compensate for that is a water meth kit, because I'm going through here, coming up, and then we're spraying in, and just like a nitrous plate, it's spraying in right there and right there. And like I said, when we put that on, that right there, just putting that on, not messing with timing, nothing else, that made 60 more horse on the dyno. Just 60 horse. And I have a timer on it to where when this thing's at about 4 pounds of boost, it starts to kick in by 7. Or no, it's 3 pounds of boost that starts to kick in. By 7, it's a full 100% spray. And you can make it spray more by changing these nozzles out in here. But that's just what I got with this kit. I could call snow and get bigger ones, but it works. So at that point, that was 60 horse. So I don't think this blower is really meant to make 800-900 horsepower, you know, on a small block, you know, on 350 to 400 cubic inches. They're not really designed for it. You know, it's more for driving around car shows and, you know, stop and go traffic. It's great for that, but it's truly not designed for the real street and strip. I didn't know it until I got the motor. He told me it was a straight 671. I'm sure he wasn't lying to me and just trying to be, you know, a douche in that sense. I think that's just what it was. But yeah, after I dug in, a regular 6071 is like an inch longer than what this is. And after talking to a few people, alky diggers, things like that, you know, they're going, it's a good blower, but it's not quite the standard you're looking for. So I could always put a better one on there and all that. But again, we're making 800 horse. With that 58, I should go from, say, 27% to like 37%. I should gain about 10% more. And with the way that the water meth is working, my my intake air temperatures were actually still pretty good. They were like 150s, if I'm remembering right. So at that point, we were still going okay. So I'll still be able to keep an eye on them and see where they're at, but we're going to try to get maybe another 1.5 pounds out of this thing. For about every 10% that you overdrive, what is it, for every 5 or 10 that you do, I think it's every 5 that you do, you gain roughly 1 pound of boost. Now this is rough figures. When it starts getting hot, you know, you're not getting as much out of it. So if I could get another 1.5 pounds out of it, that would give me about 12 pounds of boost. If that worked out correctly, you know, maybe another 30 more horsepower, maybe 40 more horsepower. But if I'm asking too much out of the blower, it might only give me 20. So the motor should make around, you know, 820, 830, you know, somewhere in there, and torque should be in the high 600s. And with that being said, that should give me enough to get this car to tweak down into the 9s. And that's the goal. So the new motor, and I'm already talking new motor, but the new motor will be most likely like a 421, but I'll keep these heads, because again, these are, you know, AFR 235 head and T&D shaft mounted rockers, all that stuff. And I can keep all the brackets, the snout, I can keep all of that stuff. I'll keep the Holley, you know, Super Snipers and all that stuff. I'd literally just change the blower. That's all I would have to do, is just change out the blower. And I would most likely put like an 871 on it from Blower Shop, and they've already told me everything will bolt right on. So I would just build a better short block, put on more like an 871, and at that point, if I build a 421 or a 427 with those heads, I might even use the same camshaft that's in this thing, because the cam's nice. Like I said, it's like 262, 272, 274, somewhere in there. So it's like low 260s, low 270s, and it's 700 lift. And at that point, I would say in a 421, it would still be good, because it would have a real good street and strip manner. And then throw the 871 on top and do the same thing that I did in this, you know, where I got a street and strip pulley setup. I got the 50 up top, where this thing makes around 730, 740. You know, somewhere in there. And if I put the 58 on it, it'll most likely be, you know, around 750. I would say I'll still gain that same amount, because I'm not changing that upper pulley. So with the 50 and changing it down there, yeah, if I made 740, it might it'll be 750 at least, just on 93 octane and all that. And it's probably enough to get this car to run a mid-10, which, you know, you guys driving around on the street, that's a blast. That'll be an absolute blast to drive. And then, you know, change that pulley around, go from the 50 to the 43. And again, if I can get this car to all of a sudden drop down into like the 980s or 990s, we're done. We're good. Then I'll put the big small block in it with the 871 on top, and we'll try to shoot for, you know, 1,000 horse or 1,050, and, you know, try to get this thing to run like a bottom 9. It's heavy. To get this thing to run in the 8s, I'd have to make like 1,150 horse or something like that. You know, I'd need 11 or 1,200 horse. I'm not going to lean on it that hard. I say these things now, but you never know what the future holds. Anyways, I've been rambling on long enough. I'm going to wrap it up here. Next week, we are going to work on figuring out the brake setup on this, because I can't do what I did before on this car. So I'm going to work on that next week. We're also going to address the alternator issue and problems that we have there. So some of the notching in the frame, things like that. We'll start moving on that for the next episode. So I just wanted to say thanks you guys again for checking everything out. Don't forget to share and like. Remember, every Tuesday, 5 o'clock, we end up putting up videos. So don't forget to put that in your notifications and all that stuff. So for you guys that ended up doing your headers, I really hope this worked out good for you, and it helps you possibly take that step to try it yourself. You know, I hope this gives you some self-confidence that you can do this. You can do this. It's not brain surgery. You can definitely do it, but just triple check your work, the welds, all the stuff that I go over. You'll be able to do it, and you'll be able to save yourself a ton of money that you can put into the combination. You could literally, for that kind of money, 1,500 bucks, I mean, you're talking have a built transmission, a nice set of cylinder heads, you know, a nitrous kit, you know, just anywhere. I mean, anywhere you can have an extra $1,500, you know, compared to having like Lemons build you a set of headers, that's huge. I mean, that's huge. For 1,500 bucks, and you keep the wife happy. So anyways, just want to say adios, my friends, till we meet again, and I will see you on the next episode. See ya.